Hello all, this is Mr. Lucid Elger here, back with another audio commentary for you guys here today, and I've got a special guest here with me today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? This is Goldstandard000. I haven't said that in a while. Yeah, thought I would just come up on here and talk with my boy Liam.
So the basis of this video, we'll be talking about Roman Reigns and kind of the pros and cons about him. Now, the guy has got a lot of, heat and negativity, I feel, in the past 3 or 4 months, maybe even longer, maybe since just after SummerSlam. He kind of got, like, a good push around SummerSlam and just before, and then he got the hernia injury, and, like, everyone started to hate on him then. And then when he kind of returned, it's kind of been this negative reaction. And you even saw it at the Rumble where he kind of, got a negative reaction for winning the Rumble. And to me, I just don't understand, like, the hate and stuff. I mean, do you understand it, Gold Standard?
I kind of understand it a little bit, just from the promo aspect. I understand he's not the greatest on the promos. He's gotten better since they've changed it up with him, but even then, like, a lot of the greats are, at least some of them, aren't necessarily so awesome on the mic. There are some that can get away with not being great on the mic and can be good enough just to get by, like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar he was shitty sometimes, but other times he was just like, that was good enough, and sometimes you can be good enough to get by on the mic. So, other than that, I don't really understand it too much. I understand he's not going to have the 5-star match, and I hate that, but, not everyone has to have the 5-star match.
Anyway, so yeah, that's a pretty good analysis of why the people hate him. But I just don't feel it's enough of a reason why people hate him. It's like, yeah, he's not the best on mic skills, but at the start when you look at someone like Rollins, he wasn't the very best on mic, and he slowly improved in the past year or so. I mean, Ambrose was always good on the mic, and is still improving even better than he was, but someone like a Rollins wasn't the best, but has improved to a pretty good level now. So, right, I'm going to go through the cons first, and then we'll talk about the pros. So, as you just mentioned, like, his mic skills are not the best, but he has improved, and, it doesn't really help, like, the dialogue he's getting. Remember the dialogue he was getting, like, before the Rumble and, like, before the New Year?
That was terrible. Nobody's going to get behind that.
So, like, the dreadful dialogue, to cut promos, which, was kind of hurting him in the long term. So at least they've kind of changed that where he's not talking as much, really, is he, anymore?
He still is, but it's just nothing corny, really.
Yeah, it's more a serious tone, a serious attitude. It's not any bullshit kiddie superhero stuff. It actually has a purpose now. So at least that's changed. So, he's still maybe not the best at delivering promos, but at least, the dialogue has improved. My girlfriend made a good point about this earlier. She was saying, like, the guy kind of looks like a shy kind of guy anyway. Do you kind of get that from Roman Reigns? Like, not the most, like, out there kind of guy?
I kind of get that a little bit. I don't get the feeling that if I talked to him in person, he'd be the most outgoing. But, if he's in the right situation, maybe. Like, that's kind of like how I am. Like, I'm not the most outgoing guy. But if I'm in, like, a situation where I'm comfortable, I can perceive myself as outgoing, but when I'm really not.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of like shy to start off with, but once you keep talking and get into a good conversation, it's not that difficult to, keep up a good conversation with somebody. But yeah, I kind of get that impression he's a little shy myself. So, maybe just a bit more confidence would help. So, all right. So the next point, his range of moves is small and, maybe needs to expand a little. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. He does have his core moves, like anyone would, but he needs to open up a little more, and I think in time he definitely will. It's just he's gotta, I don't know, I guess grow, and he's continuing to so.
Well, I mean, it's not even like we're asking him to do like moonsaults and phoenix splashes and fucking high flying moves. It's more like just add a few like you know, maybe a submission move here and there, you know, maybe a couple more power moves, you know, just to expand the repertoire because you
Yeah.
always have to expand as a wrestler. I mean the match against Bryan at Fastlane, I saw more out of him in that match. He busted out a few new moves that I've never seen him do, like German suplexes and stuff. They were a bit sloppy, like, but it was something different, you know.
Yeah,
So if he could,
the German suplex thing that he did, where he had him like gripped like differently, and he tried to do like the Three Amigos kind of thing. That was like different. Is that
yeah,
what you're
yeah, yeah.
referring?
It was more like the Benoit thing. Benoit used to do like the hat trick of you know, the German suplexes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was different. I mean, it looked a little bit sloppy, but honestly, like, you know, he has added a couple of moves, but he still needs to add a couple more, and it needs to be kind of more like I like the kind of ground and pound he did on Bryan. Like he did like elbows to his head and stuff, and that was kind
Yeah.
of interesting and new. You know, did you like that yourself?
Yeah, I liked it. I like that aggression from him. So.
All right, so the next point. You could count this as a negative. Still has the Shield music and the feel of being in the Shield rather than making his own path and his own kind of career now. I don't know, like, do you think he should be, you know, like, keeping in the same kind of Shield mode, or should he kind of move on to something else? I'm not really sure. I'm kind of like 50-50 on that.
Um, the Shield music, I kind of like it, even though it does remind me of Shield still, well, of course. But I don't know. I still kind of like it. I still feel like it suits him. But a theme change-up wouldn't be bad as long as you give him something like heavy rock. I think like a heavy kind of rock thing would be good for him. Something like, maybe not like Batista, but I feel like that's the theme that you kind of gotta go with him. And I would keep the entrance because it's unique. Like, hey, this is the only guy that comes from the crowd. Keep it.
Yeah. Um, I think maybe change up the music, something that is unique to him, and then everyone can distinguish, all right, it's Roman Reigns, instead of people still thinking in the back of their minds, oh, it feels like the Shield's still coming out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, obviously with the entrance, it's unique and stuff. What about his kind of look as well? Does that kind of need to stay the same, or would you change that up as well? Or does it kind of suit his personality now that he's kind of still has that kind of Shield look and stuff?
Um, the look I think is good. The vest, um, I would say maybe keep it or maybe modify it. Um, because I don't know, like I just can't picture him like, you know, with nothing on the torso and just like trunks. Like, no, that to me would look weird. Like it's like when Stardust came out on Fastlane and he didn't have like the full like gear on. I was just like, what? Like no, like so. I think you kind of have to keep that or something similar to it. Otherwise, it would look weird.
I saw him on FCW without the thing, and I mean he looks quite good, even just trunks and you know without the thing. But yeah, it's kind of like he's grown into that, you know, the Shield attire and stuff. So I guess maybe keep it. It's kind of his own personality in a way, but
Hmm.
maybe just a few little tweaks like a new entrance, music. Maybe keep the entrance the same because it's unique, but and maybe you said maybe modify the vest somehow, perhaps. So okay, so the next point. I mean, some of these are not even really big negatives; they're kind of more nitpicks, I guess. But the next one I found, like, I feel like he uses the Superman punch a little bit too much in matches, and maybe should keep it for more, you know, special matches or bigger occasions. I don't know if you feel the same way, or what do you think on that?
I don't really mind it. I think I was really iffy on that move when he first did it. It was like a punch, like come on. But if he hits it properly, like when he did it to Brian when he at Fastlane when he jumped off the top rope and then hit him like right in the skull, I was like, yeah, I can buy that, you know. So I've kind of grown on it a little bit. So it's not that bad of a move at all, actually.
No, I don't. It's not like I don't like the move. My problem is I feel like he just uses it a little bit too much. Like, you'll like see like some six-man tag and he'll hit like Kane, Big Show, and Rollins in the same match with it or something. You know what I mean? Like, so I like to see it more kind of like not a last resort, but more of a special move that he brings out here and there. If you get what I'm trying to say, you know. I actually like the move. It's something different. It's unique. Yeah. And it's not a bad move. It's kind of like a better version of the knockout punch from the Big Show in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe.
But anyway, so the next point we were talking about earlier, he still kind of lacks that confidence being a singles wrestler, but has improved a lot, you know? Yeah. He had that really good singles match against Orton at SummerSlam. You know, that was one of the better matches on SummerSlam, and he's just had a pay-per-view main event with Daniel Bryan now. I'm going to say something. People, you know, wrestling fans are very fickle, and especially a guy like Dalyxman, I don't want to call him out, but I'm going to say a few things. He's kind of shat on Roman Reigns quite a lot in the past 3 or 4 months, and to be honest, like, it's not really fair. You know, Bryan's a great wrestler, no doubt, and, you know, he busted his ass in the match, but you have to give Reigns the credit. He busted his ass just as much as Daniel Bryan, right?
Yeah, it takes two to tango. So,
I mean, you know, you can have like Shawn Michaels against like a jobber, you might get a decent match, but you know, you still have to have someone else add to the match. Like, I thought there was great like physicality, there was great aggression in the match, there was great drama at times. You know, so honestly, that was Reigns' best singles match, and it wasn't just all Daniel Bryan, you know? Mm-hmm. So people like the Dalyxman, you know, if you don't like Roman Reigns, fair enough, but to say he's like a bad wrestler is going a bit far, you know? He's not a bad wrestler. There's way worse people on that roster that I do not want to see. Like, a Big Show is just boring to me. A Kane is boring. I'm not really a fan of Ryback. He's okay. You know, guys like that. I mean, is there other guys you can think of that are just nowhere near that as good as a Roman Reigns on the roster?
Eric Rowan. Oh, man, I hate that guy. Oh, man, I hope that guy gets fired. That's a bad thing to say, but that guy literally brings nothing to the table.
Pretty much.
Unless he's in the Wyatt family. Oh, what happened to that stable?
Yeah, that was... I mean, that stable should be still around now, in my opinion, because it would be a decent lead up to Mania if the Wyatts were still around, you know. I feel like Bray Wyatt feels a little lost without the Wyatts. I thought it was a great stable. I mean, okay, he's going to get a match against Undertaker at WrestleMania, but in terms of, you know, having a good quality stable like the Wyatts around, it's kind of lacking at the moment when Bray's on his own. You probably get that feeling as well at times, do you?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think Wyatt's done good lately. So.
He's done good. I'm not saying he's done bad. I just feel like, you know, it was very prematurely. I think that stable could have ran on to maybe more this year, and then maybe think about splitting it up, because I think it is a good stable. You know, I think the Shield was probably time to break it up, but the Wyatts was just really poorly done. Mm-hmm. And needs to be done, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, argument people. We got last. Oops.
Hang on.
Hello. All right. So another potential point that could be a negative that people have been saying in the past few months is that he could be, you know, the next John Cena of the company, and you know, booked the same way Cena has been booked in the past 10 years plus now. How do you feel about that, Goldstandard?
I understand the fear. I really do. but I think a lot, like, this real fear that Reigns could be a Cena in the future, I think I think this is where a lot of the negativity stems from on him, because they fear of what he could be. And I've said this a bunch of times. I hate that to be a reason. He's not even close to being a Cena right now. So why even bring that up? Like, yeah, okay, he was cutting the corny promos. I get it at that point. Okay, maybe they're going to go down that path. But right now, he's more like Batista. He's not like Cena. This is where it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, are you getting that vibe more Batista than Cena?
Well, I'm getting a vibe that he's not booked the same way. Like, he's not booked like a Cena yet. I mean, yeah, people can have that fear, oh, he's always going to be the main event, but to me, I'm looking at it and thinking, like, Wyatt's going to be there in the next year or so in a main event position. I'm thinking definitely Rollins is the next guy to take the title off Reigns for sure. So there's two guys already. It'd be nice to see a guy like Bryan get back into it. Sheamus, you were saying to me earlier that he could be brought back as a heel, as a top heel, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A Rusev could be in the title mix. So, there's a good, decent crop of talent. There could be a few more, maybe like an Ambrose or a Ziggler, but, they're probably not going to get the chance. But, it's not just going to be dominated by Roman Reigns. He's not going to have a year-long title reign. I can see him dropping the title either at SummerSlam or before SummerSlam, personally, What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he would have a long title reign. I think Rollins would cash in clean, and Rollins only has till Money in the Bank, so he's gonna cash in before then or at that pay-per-view.
Yeah. So the last point is a little bit outdated. I kind of said like he lost momentum from being injured, but I think in terms of the way he's been presented after the Rumble, he won the Rumble. He had I really like that sit-down interview he did, like Brock Lesnar and him face-to-face, a couple
Yeah, I thought that was great.
That was really good to great. And then, having that really great singles match to kind of stamp his authority. So I guess that's more of a positive. He's kind of stamped a bit of an authority now. And hopefully now from here on into Mania, it's going to be a decent lead up between, Reigns and Brock, So
yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go on to the pro side of things. So he has a unique look that stands out from the crowd. He has cool tattoos that other wrestlers don't have, What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like his look. I've always kind of liked his look. So yeah, I agree.
It's not stereotypical. It's he's a big guy, yeah, he's muscly, but the tattoos make him stand out. The long hair, the bit of the goatee, the dark skin. He looks like a superstar. As much as Daniel Bryan fans want to say, Bryan is a great wrestler, but does he have that really superstar kind of look to him? I don't think so. I think he's a good talent, but he's not like someone I would gravitate to. I'd gravitate more to a Roman Reigns than a Daniel Bryan. What about you? What do you think about that?
I think I would gravitate more to a Reigns than a Bryan, but I think Bryan has an X factor that kind of puts him over the top, where it's the look isn't necessarily there and everything else, but Bryan makes it happen because he loves the business and he has the talent to make it happen. So it's almost like Mick Foley, you could say. Bryan, I hear people say, "Oh, Bryan's Austin." No, I think Bryan's more like Mick Foley. Didn't really have the look, but he had the passion and he had the talent there, and that's what made him.
He has the heart, he has the dedication, he has the passion for wrestling. And yeah, he's like the underdog, like a Mick Foley, who people said, oh, this guy's never going to win a world title, and this guy's going to be nobody, this guy's going to go nowhere. But Bryan has proved that he can be there. I just feel like he's lost a lot of direction, and it's a bit annoying that he's got no... You told me earlier he's going to have a potential, ladder match at WrestleMania for the IC title, which is a bit of a step down He should be in a bit more of a higher profile match, let's say. But you know, he'll be in a good match probably, no doubt. But yeah, like Dalyxman, I'm sorry, you're trying to say this guy is like this generation's Austin? No way in hell. In any capacity, he might be over in that way, but even Austin to me was more over than O'Brien. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, in overness, you could maybe have an argument there, but in terms of drawing power, in terms of popularity, in terms of, I know, you know, transcending, you know, Austin transcended wrestling, you know. Brian has a little bit in terms of the yes chant, but I think it's more the chant that's transcended rather than him as a character. Now, him as a character is a great character, the underdog guy who's always resilient, always puts in a hard shift, all that kind of stuff, but he's no Austin, unfortunately. No way. So
No, not even close. Like, I just don't see that at all from him. He's great. It's just, you know, I love the guy. It's just, I call it how I see it.
Anyway, he has, as I said, he has like the good size, the good physique, which makes him stand out. I feel he has the presence, but it needs to kind of be more focused on, like, he's got a good swag about him, not Jack Swagger. He's got a good swag about him, you know. He's got that cool kind of presence about him. Do you feel like he's a cool character, Roman Reigns?
Reigns, yes. I totally feel that, 100%. He really has that, that presence that when he comes out, you notice him, and he's got that one of those things that you can't teach, like like Enzo Amore says, he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. Oh, I love that guy, but anyway.
Why? When did he say this?
No, Enzo Amore, he's just got like this shtick on NXT where he's like, he comes out with Colin Cassidy, who he's like, he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. And, you know, he goes on this whole like spiel. It's kind of like Road Dogg.
All right. Is it more for comedy rather than actual?
Oh yeah. It's like an entertainment comedy kind of thing. Yeah.
Ah, okay. But what do you think? Maybe it just needs to be amplified a little bit more, his coolness and swagger at times, instead of being like this goofy kind of Reigns, you know?
Yeah. They need to. I like the goofiness. I can understand it in bits and pieces. Not to a Cena extent, but like Batista was goofy sometimes. Like, there's a place and a time for it, but when you do it all the time, then that kind of turns people off.
So you need to kind of limit to you
gotta have a balance.
More on the serious side, I'd say like 80-20, maybe something like that. Maybe he can crack a joke here and there, but
no Jack and the Beanstalk, no. But you're gonna, like, Rock cut jokes, Austin cut jokes, like.
Oh yeah. The thing is though, does the guy have that potential to cut a joke and it be kind of, you know, like the audience gets the joke, kind of, you know what I mean? Like a Rock could do that, and you know, the crowd got it, you know?
Well, that's what Reigns has to figure out. He has to figure out what they would laugh at. He needs to work on it and tweak it and improve it.
Okay. Okay, so the next point. I think he's a good in-ring wrestler. He's not bad, he's not great, but I think he's a good, solid enough in-ring wrestler. You know? He's do you agree with that?
Yeah.
There's worse talents on that roster. Go on, I'm doing a video phone. All right, we're gonna have to cut that bit out.
Yeah, when editing, yeah.
Yeah, in editing. All right, so yeah, he's a good in-ring wrestler. He's solid. You know, not much more to say. Has a good heritage and background in wrestling, which is kind of maybe needs to be amplified a little bit more at times, that his heritage is quite deep and rooted, you know, with, you know, what's his father called? Afa, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Afa.
And, you know, I know he's related to the Usos. I don't really know if they mention that on TV, but it'd be nice to see more of his heritage mentioned in a way, like incorporated into his character a little bit more? What do
Yeah,
you think?
I'd like to see maybe not like overboard, but I'd like to see like it mentioned that the Usos are his cousins in a way, like um, maybe like in a backstage segment, like before Mania, like he's just like kind of like getting hyped, and then the Usos are like, "Yo, you'll always be our cousin, you know, we'll support you," like kind of thing, you know, just because like it's not like it's something that you can't do because WWE has mentioned like Brian and Brie are a couple, and Tyson Kidd and Natalia are a couple. So it's not like real life is like separated. You know, kayfabe is pretty much dead. Like Triple H said, you know, you can include real life elements into the main roster and bring it out in public. So it's definitely attainable. So I would like to see him do something more like that.
Yeah, I agree. Don't overboard because then people will just shit on it, you know. Just mention it or incorporate it at times when you think it could be necessary or important to a storyline or something like that. So, has that potential is the next point I was going to say. Has the potential to maybe be a megastar if I just feel like I don't know why fans are just not giving him that chance. Maybe he hasn't fully connected yet, but to me, I've never really hated Reigns, you know? I've never had that feeling of, I hate this guy, he's not a good wrestler. Have you ever had that feeling off the guy?
No, when he was, you know, kind of cutting those corny promos, I disliked that, but I didn't dislike him. Like, it was just more of like a, you know, hopefully he gets better at it and, you know, see where it goes. No.
So, do you think he has the potential to be a megastar in WWE?
I definitely think he does, just because of all the assets that he has, and his legacy even, and his look, and I think he has it. I just hope the fans are willing to accept it like they say they are.
Um, Another thing I was going to say as well, do you think he should be a heel or a face?
I think right now he should be more of a badass. Maybe like a tweener, not necessarily face or heel. I think that would work best for him right now. Because right now I feel like he's a tweener. I don't feel like he's a face or a heel. So and it's just the vibe that he gets, where like, oh, he kind of seems like he's being a heel here. Oh, here he seems like he's being a face. I'd rather him be that right now. Maybe once he becomes champion, and depending on not if he loses the belt to Rollins like shortly after, you can decide where you want to kind of push him. But I think tweener would probably be the best.
Yeah, so kind of just in between the both of them then, really.
Mm. And let the fans decide, you know, if he's the face or the heel in this situation.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. Like fans are deciding. I think fans are deciding in the wrong way. They're not giving the guy a chance. So, but let him decide if he's going to be a face or a heel. But I think that's everything I'd like to say. I mean, I just thought I'd come up here and get my friend Ross to come up and talk about like Roman Reigns. He feels as much as I do. Like the guy's getting a lot of unwanted hate and stuff by wrestling fans, which is unjust. So, is there anything else?
And by no means, we're not saying you have to like him. I'm just saying the way it's being. Well, we're just saying the way the hate has come off. It feels like it's not necessarily fair.
No, it's definitely not fair at all. I think he's got way too much heat the past 3, 4, 5 months. So, yeah, that's everything I'd like to say. So, do you want to plug your channel quickly?
Real quick, Twitter and YouTube, it's the same Goldstandard000. So if you like what I had to say, go ahead and follow me and sub.
All right, so hopefully I'll come back sooner than later than to do a video. So this is Mr. Lucid LJ. Peace, good luck, bye-bye.